When we think about the recipe of a story, one of the really big ingredients is plot. What is plot? Well, that's simple. Plot is the events or the things that happen to the character in the story. Stories have a beginning, a middle, and they have an end. And in the beginning of a story, some things happen to the character, some events. In the middle of the story, more events happen to the character. And at the end, there's more events and things happen to the character. And the beginning, middle, and an end of a lot of stories follow a pattern. Usually, in the beginning of the story, our character has a problem. Something happens that the character has to react to. So, for example, we've got this dude walking through the park with his dog. And all of a sudden, a squirrel comes in. Now, if you know anything about dogs and squirrels, that squirrel's going to see that dog and it's going to run away. And that dog is going to see that squirrel run and it's going to run away after it. And now our character has a problem. His dog ran away and he can't find it. And that takes us to the middle of the story. Now, in the middle of the story, the character says, I could try, and the character tries to solve their problem. Or they react to their problem. And sometimes it's silly and we laugh, and sometimes it's scary and we go, whoo, and sometimes it's exciting and we're like, but a lot can happen in the middle. Sometimes it's just one event on a very short story, but sometimes the middle has lots of events. For example, the dude goes running around the park. First, he runs to the lake, but the dog's not there. That's one event. But next, he says, maybe he went to the parking lot, and he runs to the parking lot, but his dog's not there. That's another event. And finally, he runs into the forest. And that's another event as the character tries to solve the problem. Tries to find his dog in our story. And that brings us to the end. And I'm glad there's an end, because if the story ends and the dog's just out there and the character's running around and doesn't find him, that's not a very good story for a kid. So we have, at the end of the story, the problem usually gets solved. So when the character runs into the forest, he finds a tree, and next to the tree, he finds his dog. And he gives him a big hug, and they're all happily ever after. Most stories follow this pattern. They have a beginning where there's a problem. They have a middle where the character tries to solve the problem, or the character reacts to the problem. And they have an end where the problem is solved, and we all feel good about our story. That is how plot usually works.